let's get started. And thank you for attending and joining us today. My name is Ken Meinhardt. With me, I've got Tim Hollins over in the UK. He's going to do a majority of the presenting today. And what we want to do is go through all things digital through order processing and show you a number of features built into Label Traxx that will help us, help you and assist you in processing orders through the world of digital with the assistance of Esko and managing multiple sorts and SKUs and all that fun stuff. What we're demonstrating today is version 8 of Label Traxx, which is slowly rolling out to the world. We have a number of sites running it now and shaking out a few last-minute items that need to get addressed, and we'll start getting that in a broader release as things roll out. If you're interested in version 8, just email tech support and we'll get you on the short list of people that are interested and get in contact with you as soon as possible. Like I said, we're showing version 8 of Label Traxx, and we're also running version 14.1 of Esko's Automation Engine. Keep in mind, us Label Traxx people are not Esko experts. We know enough to be dangerous and enough to demonstrate some of the features. There's a lot more to it than we're aware of. So if you have any questions regarding Esko, we might just defer it off to them for the best attention. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to Tim over in the UK, and he can start our demonstration. And again, we're just going to go through a number of features. We'll have questions and answers at the end of the presentation. And of course, you can always email techsupport@labeltraxx.com, and we will be happy to get back to you as soon as we can. So Tim, you want to take over from here?
Yeah, thanks, Ken. As Ken has said, today we're going to be looking at taking an estimate, creating a multi-sort ticket within a Label Traxx. We'll see the interaction that Label Traxx has with Esko's Automation Engine and see how quick it can be using all the time-saving features within Label Traxx. Okay, so without further ado, we'll crack on. So initially we'll create a ticket using the quick ticket function within Label Traxx. I'll just hunt out our customer here, Fred's Dairy. Here he is. And we've already done an estimate, it's a digital estimate, 5 sorts of ice cream labels on our HP 6600. Okay, customer's given us a purchase order and has requested 12,000 labels. We're going to use the estimate detail as our description. We could use Label Traxx's next product number here, but he's given us a product number 1000. And when you use the quick ticket function, it creates the first product for you. So we're going to have vanilla 8 ounce. Not that I know what that is, being UK based. Okay, so we've already got a copy position, and we're going to ship it today because we're that quick. We're not going to create any art POs or plate POs, no plates for digital obviously, but we're going to hopefully get Automation Engine to do the art purchase orders for us. Okay, so all there is to do is create the ticket. And you can see it's filled in all the details, pulled it all in from the estimate and created our first product. But like I said earlier, this one is 5 sorts, so we're going to use the multi-duplicate function within Label Traxx to create more sorts. I'm only going to create 4, but this could be 50, 100 sorts, whatever. It's just as quick with either. So the first thing we need to do is to go into our product. We need to set a group ID for these particular labels. And we can also obviously set the generic things for across all these products, such as colors, maybe bill of materials for these particular items. Okay, so I'm just going to save that and go back in. We're going to use this multi-dupe function here. This will help us duplicate this one. So once we've pressed it, we come up with this screen. You could just type in product numbers here using the green plus button and descriptions. Yeah, not too bad for the 4 sorts that I might be doing, but if you've got 50 or 100, an absolute nightmare. Okay, so I'm going to use a text eliminated file to bring these products in. So I'm going to just import using this important button. It's asking if it is a tabbed eliminated file, and all the products have the same group ID, and I'm hoping that's the case. So I have a text file here already set up that brings in. I'll show you that here. I've created it in Notepad, but dead easy to create it in Excel. Just 2 columns, product number, description, dead easy to create, and you may even be able to get your customers to create that for you. Okay, so all we need to do is test these products are unique for the customer. The test, as you can see, has been successful, and we'll create the products. Okay, pretty simple. So we've now created the 5 products. That was fairly simple. We just need to bring them into the ticket here. Again, we could use the green plus button, go in, quantity, products, big long-winded again, if you've got a 50 or 100 products. So we're going to use the add selection button here. Here you can see my products. I could, again, highlight the ones I wanted and just add, but then you would be left with entering all the quantities. So we can, again, use another spreadsheet or notepad file, whatever, and we can use the import button again. And I have another one set here. Again, just 2 columns, quantities, product number. So we'll test, make sure they're existing, which they are, and we can import them onto the order. So, simple as that. Bit of a redraw error on our beta version here. So the only thing to do is change the quantity on that first product that came in with the full quantity. And there we go. We have a ticket here that's been created, and it could have been 50 sorts or 100 sorts. Very easy using the multi-dupe function there. Okay, so the very next thing we need to do is send this over to Automation Engine. And again, that's as simple as pressing the button. It's asking us if we want to use the lead in, lead out frames. Here, we can either use the default setting constants, or we can use zeros, or we can actually go and amend that within the product section over here. For this case, I'm going to use the defaults. Okay, so ticket has been sent over to Automation Engine. If we flip over to Automation Engine here, we can see this is our ticket 1068. 1068. It's been sent over to Automation Engine. If I click on the I here, Ken will talk us through what's actually been pulled through on the JDF.
Yeah, as simple as clicking that button in Label Traxx, and it sends all these parameters over to Esko. We also even have an option in constants for JDF that can be automatically sent, so you don't even have to remember to click that button. But once that happens, all these details go over to Automation Engine, and any one of these pieces of information and parameters can be used as part of the workflow in Esko. So we can look at things from what press does it run on, of course the size of the label and the gaps between each label, what material it's using. All that detail is available and is used in workflows. And part of that workflow is generating the proof, and part of it is preparing it to go to press with step and repeat information and what marks to use, including, in the case of HP, it'll send over the color strategy information, the substrate details, what marks to use in ink sets. All that fun stuff gets sent with a simple click. So that's really neat, but also if, Tim, if you want to cancel out of here, in the upper left corner of Esko, there's the file button. I don't have control. There we go. One of the other big features of using this integration from Label Traxx to Esko is everything is structured in how it's stored. If you notice over on the left there, you can see each customer number and their name, and then inside of each of those folders is their orders, and inside that is their products. And you can structure Label Traxx and Esko to manage your art files for you. It sounds really simple, but it's in the real world, and what we've seen out there is if you have 3 or 4 people working on your artwork, they all have different ways of storing it and retrieving it, and some versions are on their local computer, and some might be on a server, and sometimes finding the latest versions is very time-consuming. But with AE in place and the JDF, it's all structured, and it's got to be in one particular spot. And even in Esko, you can design the workflows to, always copy the originals and throw it in an originals folder, and have additional revision folders. So all that can be automatically managed by Esko's Automation Engine. This saves a ton of time, maintains the storage, and there's also routines that we'll talk about here at the end of it to help remove versions and all the art files and jobs to, again, keep the database as clean as possible. All right, Tim, back at you.
Okay. So we've created the product. We've brought over all those parameters. So if we're going to have a look at this one, you can see here it's created the products for us. At the minute, obviously, it's got no detail. We haven't sent any artwork across, but it's created the product files for ourselves. And we'll look at sending over some artwork. So to do that, I'm going to go back over to Label Traxx and go over to the products page. And here you can see there's a little upload button. So I'm just going to find the artwork for this one. So this is a vanilla 8-ounce. We can send that across. And you can see here the prep status is changed to uploaded, and also this is changed here into in Automation Engine, and you can see this is the artwork that I've just popped across. There's many other ways to do that, and I'm sure Ken will tell you while I just do the rest of these.
Yeah, well, Tim's uploading art from Label Traxx. You can also do it right inside of Automation Engine's pilot, where you can right mouse click on any of the containers and upload it as you need to. And one other method of doing it is you can go directly at the server where the artwork is stored, and you can just drag and drop it into different folders from that angle. Because when the job was sent over from Label Traxx to Automation Engine, it created all the folder structure for that customer, for those products. So one way or the other, we need to get the art files in there. And as much as we'd like to automate that part of it, not knowing what your customers name things and how they structure it, it's still a process to get that artwork in and get it loaded up into one spot. And it uses the concept of a one-up file for everything, and it'll use that one-up file for all future processing. Back to you.
Okay. So if we have a look at this first product, there is a workflow I've got here that I can run on for this particular product. I'll show you the workflow. If you've not already seen them and got Automation Engine yourself, this is something that Esko will produce for you, and we don't particularly know how any of this works, but the button to press is that one. So as you can see, it's creating some details here. It's asking for some user intervention. So if we have a look at this one first, you can see it's created the one-up file that's going to be using now, and it's stored it under this 1000, which is the product code that we've given it. So as long as we're happy with that, which I think we are, we can release that and complete that action. Okay, and you can see it's now populated that with a nice little thumbnail for us. So we've got the next thing here. So it's now kindly took all the information from Label Traxx, the one-up file, and created it as a proof. On the second page, it's also split out the separations for this particular proof and given it a cutter line also.
And this format is very customizable. Again, Esko can help you with that. There's a reporting tool within it Obviously, we've mocked this up just for this demonstration, but some of the different reports that customers have created, you can pull in additional detail and format this any way you'd like, and Esko will be happy to help you out with that process. So don't get caught up in this look. It can be customized to your organization and how you want to display it.
And obviously this, Esko can also have this then automatically sent to your CSR, sent over to Traxx, for instance, for them to approve on there, or even sent directly to your customer. So this is something that can be done, again, via Esko. Okay, so we're happy with that, and as you can see, now, once I release this, this is now turned to proofs out, so basically awaiting approval. It's been sent. Okay, so the next action would be to finally approve that. So we'll complete this, say it's been approved. You can see it's quite visible in here. The headers have changed colors, and that's changed to approved. And if we go back over to Label Traxx, you also see in the product page of the ticket, that is also updated to approved, whereas the other ones are still on uploading.
Yeah, the two systems are linked together with bidirectional communication using JMF. So as the statuses update within Automation Engine, it messages back to Label Traxx to update the status of that particular product.
Okay, so I shall just run the automatic version with these. So these don't have the stop points that we had there. And you'll see these will just go through the different elements on all of these. Maybe if I press them. And those workflows start to run, and these all start to approve. And you can see here we're starting to get some proofs out, approved. Hopefully these all should get approved automatically.
That approval process is something that can be linked through Traxx. There's also Web Center within Esko. Obviously we just did a shortcut for this demonstration and just shot them all through as approved. But as you guys know in the industry, it can go back and forth a number of times with your customers as they make changes, and that's just part of the fun. But the whole goal of this is to get a one-up file approved, and then we can take that information and do any number of things with it, and Tim will show us.
Yeah, well, there's just one last nice feature here. I mean, we've only got 5 products here, but if you've got 50 maybe, customer probably doesn't want 50 different proofs on email. So there's a nice little workflow here. It's called the MultiProof, where it creates a proof from all of these. It takes a little while to run, so we'll just let that run, and I'll show you what has happened as part of one of the workflows there. If we go into the detail of the product now, Ken was talking about the bilateral information going backwards and forwards. We've also got in here, and now in the document center, we've actually got the proof stored there. So it's come back into Label Traxx and it's actually stored in the product. So we can have that on hand at all times for next time maybe. And also it's put a nice little image of the one-up file into Label Traxx. And if it had been a new cutter or something of that nature, the cutter could have been put into the cutter shape could have been put into your tooling record in the same image format here. And so if we just save out of that, and hopefully if we go back to Automation Engine now, that has created, or it's still running actually. Let's just see what we've got here. So we've got the proof here. So in there, if you open this up, it's created a slightly different header on here with different details, just to show you can have different things. But this is the MultiProof, so it's got all 5 of our products just on one PDF. Really handy if you've got 50 or 100 products or something like that, you can just send on one proof. Yeah, and it's a nice little feature they've got set up here.
Yeah, why would you want to send your customer 5 different individual PDFs and when you can send them one with everything on it? I know this workflow was created for one of our customers, and even some of the logic was built in for the emailing, where you didn't want one PDF to be larger than 10 megabytes, or you could even select that size, and Automation Engine would chop up a 150 version job into, say, 6 different PDFs that you can manage and send off to customers, and then you could either have those PDFs dropped into the individual product records or dropped into the ticket record for reference, so then anybody on the Label Traxx network can take a look and see what those look, have access to the proofs from there. They can email them out of there, or have Esko sending them out.
Yeah. Okay, so I mean, in theory now we've got our 5 proofs all approved here and all our work done. So the next thing that we can get do within Label Traxx and hopefully get AE to do is plan these up and step them up. So we've got a feature here called File Plan. So we can go into there and we'll have a quick look at what's going on in here. So we've got our products here, all of our products and our quantities. Down the bottom here is our 4-across cutter. So we can see our 4 lanes here, and it's given us an arbitrary 4 plates or file runs or whatever you wish to call them. And when we plan these up, we'll get to see how many planned and how many overs this is going to create, and depending on how we plan this up. And then more importantly is the value of these extra labels that we're going to produce and probably the customer won't accept. And with some handy little bits here, so we can plan these together, the colours, the floods, and so on and so forth. So I'm just going to you could just drag and drop these into here, very easily, just drag and drop and manipulate what they want. And as you can see, it's creating overs here. So this plate here would be running for 3,000, and it's creating overs at a cost of $29.75 there. Another handy feature here is the autofill feature. If I just choose the file in the order of the quantity, it will just drop each of my products across here and split it across the cutter. So this one here, 1001, it's just for 1,000 labels, so it's got 250 of each. And that's just split that nicely across there. But I know my particular customer, and he always likes 1,000 labels on a reel, so he's not going to accept that unless I get the reeler to then join them all back together again, which will probably cause me a lot of earache. So I'm just going to go and change this number across instead of the file, and it just drops them onto there. I mean, I could just drag and drop, but it's a nice easy way just to get all your products into this plan without having to drag them down again. So I'm just going to start to create these plates now. So I'm just going to move this 3001 over here, and there's a feature called split, and we're just going to split it a couple of times, and I'm going to just change the quantities a few times to give it back the correct quantities that this one's going to need. Okay. So that gives the 3,000 that they initially wanted. So 3,000 would create no overs of these two now. So I would imagine, to split this one to give it 2,000. It depends on how you wish to file plan. I mean, another way to do this would be maybe to add another plate and bring your other ones, split these down here. And then we could obviously move these around slightly and split these ones up, depending on how your reeling works and how you like to work. So we've created a nice file plan here. We've got 1,000 on a reel. Customer's going to be happy. Reeler's going to be even happier. So all we need to do now is send that across to Automation Engine. Again, it's asking me for the lead in and lead out. I'm just going to use the defaults here, and we'll see what happens. There we go. So here we get asked, do we want to send all of them or one of them? We're going to send them all. Okay, so the file plan we've just created has now been sent across to AE, and hopefully this should be running another workflow here. As you can see, it's just stepping those up for me, and in a second we should get some details on, here we go, this one. So here we go, we view this, and we can see here it's stepped these up for me automatically in the way I've asked in that file plan. And as you can see in the background there, it's also created, if we turn off all these other colors, it's also created the lead in, lead out frame. So it's going to just print a one color print there. It's got a nice barcode, details. You know, the reader can see this straight as soon as he's coming through. Can tell what customer's for, what tool he should be using on maybe if he's using the Digicon or something on the back end, and the ticket number. So he can marry it up to his paperwork, and obviously the product numbers as well. So that's a handy little feature that this workflow has just created for us. Okay, so we'll just close that down, and if we're happy with that, we can complete that, and that's this particular job now print ready in a matter of, I don't know, minutes probably. If we've not been waffling on in between, you can see how quick this can be to create a big multi-sort job.
With the integration to HP in this particular example, not only is the artwork sent over with stepped and all the details, but it sends a number of other parameters to the press of quantity of frames and the color strategies, ink sets, substrates, any number of things to help the operators at press have a minimal amount of things they can do, and then they send the job directly over to be printed. Now, Automation Engine, you know, we almost always demonstrate this thing with HP, but Automation Engine can send files to just about any RIP or DFE out there. It can do the separation there, send it off to others. And again, Esko's much, much better at discussing that with the CPI. That would be the best place to take it.
Okay, well, there's a couple of other handy little features within that Label Traxx can do. If we save out of this, once your job has been printed and the packing slip is created, your status of your job gets updated to done automatically when you create a packing slip. So if we save that now, you can see that this also comes through to our job here. If we have a look back at our job, we've got in here the ticket status is also pulled through as done, which is a nice little feature, so you can actually pull through and actually see which jobs are complete and not. Another little handy little thing in here, if we go into one of those products that we've created and we mark it as inactive within Label Traxx, I mean, this is probably a lifesaver, so you don't actually print labels that have become inactive and save it. It also changes the status within Automation Engine. And my particular, if we go back into here and have a look at the product, you can see it's now pulled through as an inactive product. You could actually have that workflow entirely remove the product from your Automation Engine.
And both of those are just to help maintain the two databases. As a job gets done in Label Traxx, all those step files and all the JDF information and everything that was sent over to Esko could be removed, because if by chance you needed to rerun it or redo it, you just resend the job and resend the workflows. What this will help you do is just keep the clutter out of the hard drives of the Esko system, because all those step files can take a tremendous amount of room. And all you would have to do is, say, find all jobs older than a month that are done in Automation Engine, and just remove the jobs and all their working files. And there's no particular panic about that. If you had to bring back a job from a month ago or 2 months ago, you could just bring it up in Label Traxx, resend it, reprocess it, and you're back to where you're going. But it just removes the data from the system, so you don't have all that clutter and you don't use up all your hard drive space.
Yeah, I mean, and that's basically how Label Traxx can create a big multi-sort jobs. I mean, my previous life, working within a print company, we actually did some work on how long this particular operation takes, and we worked out on average that for creating a product within your software, then sending that over to your artwork department, who creates a one-up and then creates a proof, and then plans it up all in Illustrator. I mean, you're talking just for an easy particular job, you know, where everything's pretty much the same. You're probably talking around 15 minutes or so. So you can see, you know, if you've got a 100-sort job, that certainly can tie up your artwork department massively. Whereas you could here get your CSR to pretty much do a lot of the work for you using Automation Engine and Label Traxx, and just freeing up your artwork department to actually, and your pre-press department to actually do the more difficult stuff and get the mundane through. And if this was a repeat job, most of this would already be done. All they would have to do is file plan the particular job, and it would be sat ready at your press to print in the next available spot.
Like Tim was saying, it's all about automating and taking steps out of it. Often the CSRs are the ones entering the order and figuring out the products and versions and collecting the artwork. So it may make sense for your organization, your company, to just to have them upload the artwork directly into AE. If you think about it, the CSR has to do it to enter the ticket, then you give that project to the pre-press people, and they got to map the files from the customer into the product records. It just may make more sense just to have them do it directly. So the different workflows can even be addressed by people, different groups within your company. I think we worked through our list, didn't we, Tim?
Yeah, I think that's us done, yeah.
We've been answering the questions as we go. I'm sure there can be more things cropping up. We're always adding new features to Label Traxx as well. Watch for a YouTube movie coming out soon on a project we did with version 8 of Label Traxx, the new API module, and ABG's laser die cutter, where we have Label Traxx sending production information directly to the laser, and it picks up the barcode as the web goes by. The laser will scan the barcode, load the image files, and continuously die cut multiple jobs within one roll without having to stop for much at all. That was demonstrated in Chicago, and we took a video of it, and we'll get more of that out to help educate people on that side of the life. There's other things coming up with analyzing art files for production, figuring out number of colors that Esko's been working on, and we've worked with them a bit on that as well. There's always more automation coming up and things that can happen. But what we really wanted to do with this webinar today was to show you the basic workflow, some of the features that aren't always obvious, and get those into the hands of people with Esko or considering getting Esko, or even getting into the digital market and how to better process orders through Label Traxx to keep the bottlenecks to a minimum. So that's about it for today, I think. If you have, again, questions, you can chime in on the webinar, or certainly send any messages to tech support at labeltraxx.com. We'll get back to you, or just contact any Label Traxx person, and we'll do our best to get the information to you. This will be has been recorded and will be out on the site for download. You'll get an email that you can grab that link and I'll probably throw it on YouTube as well for more use. So I think that's it, folks, and have a great day, and thanks for your time.
Thank you very much.